Sean.
The hour of labor has arrived, and the work of another day demands our attention. Let each repair to his or her allotted station. Worthy overseer, please prepare the hall for our work.
Worthy steward, please prepare our hall.
Mary sisters will open the Bible upon the altar.
Almighty Father, maker of heaven and earth, and giver of all good, we return our heartfelt thanks that we are permitted to meet each other here for your work in our glorious cause. Give us patience and wisdom in our counsels as a body, that our work may be good and acceptable in thy sight, and that our labors may be blessed with a liberal harvest. And when we are called to lay down our implements on earth, may we enter that paradise not made with hands, eternal in the heavens, and receive that welcome plaudit. Well done, good and faithful servants. We beseech thee to bless the officers and members of this Grange and all connected, with the order from the highest to the lowest degree, and grant them prosperity. We ask all in thy holy name. Amen.
Amen.
And now open, I passed out these papers. Battle Hymn of the Republic is our opening song.
Sing the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trembling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the faithful light of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Okay. Please join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I remember that. Been a long time since I said that.
Good evening. Welcome. Welcome to the Dartmouth Grange. My name is Elizabeth Newton, and I am the president of the Dartmouth Grange. Welcome to our hall, also known as Patrons Hall. And it's really delightful to have all of you here tonight, one and all. Really pleased. It's enjoyable. Our Grange members really appreciate the evening and our meeting, and thank you for coming out on this chilly-ish and wet night. I'm going to recognize some dignitaries in the hall. We have Alan Manley Jr., who is subordinate deputy. serves on the Veterans Committee, and he is on the board of the Massachusetts Agricultural Affairs Association.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Oh, Massimo. Massimo Litt is Master of the Junior Grange. I'm not remembering. Worthy assistants, please bring our honored guest, Mr. Robert Harding, and our worthy lecturer to the master's station.
I don't hear very well. What did you say?
I think they're going to collect you.
Okay. Oh, okay. In line?
Turn the corners.
I'll follow.
Well, it's a pleasure to introduce our worthy lecturer, Sarah Cogswell, and she is going to speak.
Sure. Sounds great. Thank you, worthy master. So my name is Sarah Cogswell. I'm the lecturer here at the Dartmouth Grange. I want to thank you so much for coming tonight. It's a very special night. It's our annual Community Citizenship Award. Every April, we celebrate those partners in our community who are doing the good work, who are connecting with not only our communities, but the families, kids, adults, everyone who touches us and who's important to us. So each winter, we actually, throughout our meetings, our monthly meetings, which are open to the public, just so you know, please come to another. Every winter, we talk about what organization, what individual in our community has really touched us, has really done something above and beyond. And this year, this winter, the Dartmouth Historical and Art Society came up in discussion. We, of course, partner each September with our Grange Fair and the living history that goes on over at the Russell's Mills Schoolhouse. One of my favorite events of the year. I just love what goes on there. I also love the third grader programs, and my favorite teacher actually does some of the work over there, Mrs. Upchurch. And I cannot call her by her first name because she's Mrs. Upchurch. So I also have a deep connection to Russell's Mills. My family grew up here, my mother, my grandfather, and I still have several thousand relatives that are out in Russell's Mills Village. Seeing the schoolhouse being utilized means a lot, especially to me and my family. So weekly lectures, as I mentioned, the living history, any event that is going on there, I'm in. And I tell my friends, and we all meet up, and it just makes Russell's Mills that much richer. So thank you as well for utilizing such a great building. So all of this work is done by groups, but also individuals. I want to honor tonight in particular the president, Bob Harding. I know through a lot of his hard work, we have gathered many, many troves of information which are being housed on the website. So your website blows me away as well. And I hope that we can continue to share that, not only in Dartmouth, but as examples for other communities. So you can gather genealogical information, the maps. Everybody here was just blown away by the maps. We love looking at maps and seeing the old roads and seeing the towers and where things used to be. That's really exciting. But also cemeteries and just really important information. So we appreciate that you're not afraid to gather the information and put it in a resource that's free and open to all. So thank you again for that. And I know, Bob, you had a lot to do with that, so thanks a lot.
You're welcome. There's a lot of people out there who had a lot to do with that.
I believe it.
Especially that guy over there.
It doesn't just take one person. It's a
It's a
phenomenal,
team. Yeah.
phenomenal archive. And another one of my favorite things are the more recent presentations that have been put up, in particular Keuke Macumber's talks, and also folks here have spoken. And thank you again for being presenters of information. It's really enjoyable, but also if you can't get there, thank you for putting the presentation up on the website. That's huge.
Thank you.
So I would ask Bob if you have a moment to
Oh, I always have a moment. all these people came
please
up.
say a few words, you know, maybe perhaps in reflection of being honored with this
You
award.
don't realize it, but Sarah and I have more connections than appear on the surface. I played basketball with her uncle Raymond when I was at Dartmouth High School many, many years ago. And for a very short time, when my father and my mother and our family moved from the tenement districts of New Bedford to live in Dartmouth, my father was a farmer, and he worked at what is called the city farm. It's also known more popularly as the poor farm, but he was a farmer and took care of the pigs and the cows and the chickens and so forth. But he got a better job. He used to ride to work, believe it or not, on a bicycle, because we lived in the south end in a tenement. And he rode down Brock Avenue to the farm on a bicycle. And he got a job, and the job was with a guy named Bob Martha, who many of you know who Bob Martha is, or was. I think Bob died recently. And we're going to move in a house right next to Charlie Martha's house on Horseneck Road. But the house was still occupied when we were already out of the tenement. And so somebody made arrangements for us. A man by the name of Mercer owned the house where Sarah now lives and farms. And we lived there for like 3 weeks while the other family moved out of the house we eventually moved into. So I got, as a 4 or 5-year-old boy, to explore. There was a greenhouse there with a kind of a subfloor and a nice place, and Sarah tells me it's now being used for some other purpose. But
Well, I think our pigs are right out there right
okay.
now.
Sounds appropriate. A nice space.
Yeah, very nice.
I also have a connection with the Grange because they used to run minstrel shows here. And in the minstrel shows, of course, you know, they had blackface and they had music and they had quartets and so forth. But they had children, I was a high school kid, speaking pieces in between. And I believe I talked about Casey at the Bat. I won't recite it now, it's too long. But I could, but I won't. Also, there was an intermission, and as I recall, I had a girlfriend at that time, and there's a hill, isn't there a big hill in the back here?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the moon was up that night, and we roamed around that hill during intermission, and I won't give away any more secrets of that type. But while I was in high school, Dartmouth has always had a very strong connection with agriculture. It's not gone away yet, I don't think, of course, with the Grange still operating. And when I was in high school, we had a Future Farmers of America organization, and we had a 4-H club organization, which are both very active. And last but not least, in connections, and then I want to thank you for the award. I'll get to that. But you all know who Leona Ashton is, I'm quite sure. The Grangers do especially. And Leona lived to be a great age and was very sharp right to the end. I interviewed Leona not very long before she died. And one of her nieces is on our board of directors. Pat Stringer is Leona's niece. And I have a terrific videotape of Leona telling me all about the Grange organization in Smith Mills and who gave the money for the building and how she organized this and that and how they merged here and all the developed, like a history of the Grange. I have a verbal history of the Grange in the interview, but she also shared a lot of family stuff. I used to deliver papers to her brother, who was Pat Stringer's father, when he lived on Old Westport Road, right near the end of Beeden Road. You all know where that is, I'm sure. So we can't show the tape until somebody edits, and Pat wants to make sure she gets a chance to edit the tape before we make it public. But that's enough of that stuff. Now, let me tell you that this board of directors that I have is an incredible collection of people, all of whom put their shoulder to the wheel and push and help, and they make the old Amish saying come true. Many hands make the work light, and that's what happens when everybody works together, all kinds of different talents, and it not only makes the work light, but it's an attractive place because everybody's working. Nobody's carrying the whole load. Everybody's making a contribution. We're open for suggestions. We make changes all the time, and we have a lot of fun doing what we do. And there are a few people missing who didn't come tonight, and the only excuse they have is that they're working at the polls. We wouldn't take any other excuse, but that's what 3 or 4 of our members are working at the polls. But I take my hat off, I took my hat off, it's to the board. They're the ones who made this award happen, and I'm really grateful for that. It's a lot of fun to be involved with somebody who wants to work and has good ideas and talent and all that it takes. So I wish you all well with the project of the Grange. We would like to continue to being partners with you in things that we do and you do. And maybe we can do something on the history of the Grange one of these days.
Love that.
And we can make Leona Ashton's talk edited a part of that, because she really gave me a terrific history of the Grange and also of the Stoll family and the Sweet family and so forth. So thanks very much.
Well, thank you. I want to actually give you an award.
Oh, we're going to put this on
Yeah,
our
look
wall.
at this.
Okay,
Ooh.
good. Oh, nice.
So these are, you might remember the cat's meows that used to be available at the DeVal's General Store.
Oh, yes.
So this is just a simple placard on the back that the Dartmouth Grange number 162, our 2018 Community Citizen Award, goes to the Dartmouth Historical and Art Society. So thank you to the board and to the president and to the members.
Thank you very much. I will frame that. Put it on our wall.
Oh, please do, yeah.
Good. Thanks.
So during this portion, we open it up to any and all members or guests who might have a few words to say. Perhaps any of the board members might want to speak. It's okay if not.
Feel free to feel free. And I've observed now that, Bob is receiving the award, and it is the whole group, and the accolades for you all. That's wonderful to hear. And that's when people are working together like that, and you're probably bonded. You really get to have a good time together, you get to be friends, and you're working hard together.
Just a little reminder, Bob will be speaking this coming Sunday, on the history of some houses at Smith Mills. So anybody's welcome, and Kathy provides the little snacks on the side, so come on by and listen to the old history of Smith Mills houses. Some of them are no longer there, but there's a few that still are.
There's a murder-suicide in one of the houses we're going to talk about.
Oh.
Come and listen to that.
Well, it's always at 6:30, so we're back to the summer schedules. 6:30.
Your programs are marvelous, and people should try to go whenever they can. It's just so much fun, so always a lot of good detail, and it's just rich with information, and and the snacks are wonderful too. We always like snacks.
And I do want to encourage our partnership on a potential Grange history, because we're looking for that kind of programming, not only for our members, but to share with the public. we have a beautiful space just like you do, and we'd love to share it with our increasing membership. So the history would be exceptional. We have a lot of members here who have a strong connection to the Grange past, but there's always more that we can gather and collate.
If anybody has old photographs that they can share with us, we can post those
Excellent.
with the, you know, the permission of those people, because there's still a lot of old things that went on in town, in the village here, that we don't have a record of. So if anybody has anything that they'd like to share with us, you know, we'll put it out there.
That's a great first step. Thanks. Well, thank you, Elizabeth.
Okay, thank you.
For the members, could the members of the Historic Society each stand?
Yes,
And
good
give us
idea.
their names so we can meet them?
Yes,
Yeah.
Excellent.
yes, please stand if you're a member of the historical.
Their names?
Names,
Where would you like to start?
Jeff King,
Sally Aldrich,
Donald Plant,
Barbara Plant.
Catherine Plant.
Bob Harding.
Marcia Cornell Glynn.
Marion Ryle.
And Dan Phillips.
and Dan.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. It's delightful to see you here. Okay, well, we have no business this month. We're not having a business meeting. But are there any announcements? Does anyone from a committee have an announcement to make?
I'd like to report that the scholarship committee, we've sent out the applications to the high school in Dartmouth and Westport. We give 2 scholarships each year, one to a male, one to a female, to each of the high schools, one in Westport, one in Dartmouth, and it's done through the John H. Brown Jr. Scholarship. Mr. Brown was a member of the Grange and left us a scholarship trust, which has done very, very well for the students of Dartmouth. And this year we've gotten permission to perhaps extend our scholarships to more than just 2 per school. So the applications have gone out, you know, someone that's worthy. We encourage people that are in either agriculture or earth science or some kind of thing that we can tie to the Grange, but that's not an essential qualification. But they give a very nice scholarship. It's a minimum of $2,000, and this year we'll probably be giving somewhere in the vicinity of $35,000 to $37,000.
Wow.
Terrific.
So, if you know a young person who is graduating from either Dartmouth High School or Westport High School this year, a senior, graduating senior, our scholarship application is available on our website, and they can also get it from the guidance counselor at their school. But go to the website of the Dartmouth Grange, and if you look a bit, you'll find you can download the application. Are there any other? Yes.
I just want to mention that at the end of the month, next month, in Memorial Day, is our annual yard sale. So if you have stuff hanging around that needs a home that we could sell, if you have a lot, like a truck full, you know, just give us a call or tell Nancy and we'll arrange for a pickup. Or it's Saturday and Sunday before Memorial.
I was like coming and looking.
We are beginning to plan for our fair in September, so we're having our first Grange Fair meeting this month. It'll be on Wednesday, April 18th at 6:30 p.m. So the planning begins for the fair. Any other announcements?
other side too?
I saw that on the website.
Good.
Want to see this side?
Huh?
Want to see this side too?
Oh, yeah. Why
Yeah,
not?
it's cute, isn't it?
Two-sided.
Yeah.
It's right out at the Ball store.
Yeah.
Very good.
I've quite recently started getting